to enjoy Zelda. But I have this dilemma where every time I pick up one of these games and play them, I just don't have fun. Before someone says I just haven't played long enough, I already put this theory to the test by playing all the way through Zelda: A Link to the Past on SNES. It was like exposure therapy, and it didn't work. It reminds me of what happens when I tell people I don't like olives. Oh, your taste buds change over time. So like every 3 years, I try an olive, and guess what? I still hate olives. Another piece of pushback that I get is, well, you just haven't tried the right Zelda game. They're all different. I've tried several, and Breath of the Wild almost got me. I'll share a bit more on that later. One that I have not yet tried is Majora's Mask. And I'll make you a deal. If this video gets at least 10,000 views, I'll give Majora's Mask a shot, and I'll let you know what I think. A few things to keep in mind before we jump in. I'm not saying that Zelda is objectively a bad game or a bad series. I'm not saying no one should like it. I actually appreciate what Zelda has done for the world of gaming. I just don't have fun playing Zelda. That said, let's jump into 5 reasons I don't like Zelda. Reason number 1, I believe there is a tremendous lack of unique player experience, mainly due to the fact that there is almost no RNG. I couldn't identify this problem as a kid, but I knew that I didn't like it when I walked up to a bush, whacked it with my sword, and got a rupee, the in-game currency for Zelda. Thinking I had a strike of good luck, I got excited, until I soon realized, oh wait, that bush always drops that rupee. Every single time. Additionally, the weapons. In Zelda: A Link to the Past, there is Sword A, Sword B, and well, Sword C. Sure, they have names, but they might as well be called Sword A, B, and C, or 1, 2, and 3. That's it. I'll admit this is probably an issue of preference, but there is something about that old Borderlands ad that mentions billions of variations of weapons. I like varying stats. I like that in games like Borderlands and Diablo, I can pick up the same rarity sword 5,000 times, and it's likely that it will never be the same. In Zelda, this isn't just a problem with the weapons and items, it's the entire map. I don't enjoy static maps. It's the enemies. They spawn in the same place, follow the same path with no variation every time. Even the boss fights have no variation. It's the same way every time you walk in. They move right, they swing the weapon. You move left, they move forward. Sure, they respond to your movements, but they respond to your movements the same way every time. I don't enjoy when a game is the same every single time. It feels more like watching a movie or reading a book. I don't know, maybe this time when I watch the Avengers Endgame, Thanos won't snap. Maybe this time when I watch Harry Potter, Harry will just slap his jerk of an uncle. Games without some level of RNG feel too restricted to me. RNG and procedural generation in video games not only ensures that my experience will be different from everyone else's, it ensures that my experience will be different every time I play the game. This is why I'm attracted to the roguelike genre. I'll never have the same experience twice. This brings me to my next reason for not enjoying Zelda games: replay value. Based on everything I've said up to this point, the reasons for my second complaint are quite obvious. I feel there's no replay value to most Zelda games. Now, if I'm not going to play it once, why do I care what my second or third experience is like? Why do I care about the replay value if I'm not even going to play it one time? Well, I'm not sure about the rest of you, but when I spend money on a game, I want to make sure I clock some hours playing it. I have a friend who has a great rule of thumb when it comes to spending money on games. He thinks a game is worth buying if he can rack up enough hours that result in him spending $1 per hour of playtime. In essence, a $60 game should get him 60 hours of gameplay, or it is not a justified purchase. I love this idea. Revisiting reason number 1, if a game has no RNG, procedural generation, or some sort of variation in its gameplay, its replay value is going to decline significantly, resulting in me paying more dollars per hour. Before I get carried away with only talking trash about Zelda, there is a plus to the lack of RNG, and a way to get some pretty great replay value out of games like this. Games with minimal RNG usually make for pretty good games to speedrun. It's the same experience every time, you don't get screwed by RNG, it's just you versus the game. If I was a speedrunner, I would probably find Zelda games at the top of my list. I'll give you that one, Zelda. Third, nostalgia. I need to be careful with this one, because I don't want to disrespect the many that love the Zelda franchise, and I don't want to dishonor the game devs. I see game development as a beautiful art form, and I applaud those who have made incredible games, even if I don't enjoy playing them. But let's be honest, the more nostalgia a series has, the stronger the fan base and the more the franchise can cut corners. We see this to an extreme with Star Wars. I'm convinced that most die-hard Star Wars fans have more movies in the series they dislike than movies they do like. To be honest, I enjoy Star Wars. I enjoy ridiculous lightsaber fights, the silly jokes, the dumb characters. I'm done. Sure, some of the acting makes me cringe, but let's be honest, they can do just about anything with the Star Wars series and still make money because they know people will put up with just about anything because of their deep love for Star Wars. Nostalgia comes with a lot of pressure to satisfy a fan base, but it can also encourage lazy decision making. I'm not saying it implies that every decision will be lazy, but there is a certain amount of pressure that is alleviated when you know that you could cut some corners and make a mediocre game and still make an incredible amount of money due to the fact that 30 million people are going to buy a game just because it has the Zelda label on it. Nostalgia can either make or break a series, but it can also make people feel very left out because they don't have the nostalgia. Which brings me to my fourth reason for not liking Zelda. I'm stealing this one from a video by RetroBird. You can find this video in the description. There is too much hype and pressure to like it. Here is what RetroBird had to say about the subject. My theory is that a lot of people who wouldn't have even bothered trying to play it if it weren't for the enthusiasm surrounding it, give in to the hype and do end up trying it just to find out they don't like it. He then equates this to his experience with fishing. He was told to try it for years. Finally, he tried it, and guess what? He still didn't like fishing. I want to like Zelda. I really do. But why? I like my friends, and I want to enjoy things they enjoy. And I want them to enjoy games I enjoy. For example, I love the Suikoden series. Most of my friends have never played Suikoden games and probably wouldn't like them. But when they do try Suikoden, it lights up my world. They get to experience the beautiful story, fall in love with the characters, laugh at the inside jokes, and there are certain conversations we can have and ways we can connect over our shared love for the game. As much as I don't enjoy Zelda, for this reason alone, I wish I did. I wish I didn't shrug every time a new Zelda game was released. I wish I played through it with my friends and talked about different techniques and ways we can solve the puzzles. Speaking of pressure to join a bandwagon, Zelda Breath of the Wild was purchased over 36 million times. That's tremendous. I want to be at that party. This brings me to my final complaint about the Zelda franchise. Number 5. I have a hot take when it comes to Zelda Breath of the Wild, and here it is. Zelda Breath of the Wild is not a Zelda game. It is a good game reskinned with Zelda. This backhanded compliment is unfortunately the best I can do for the Zelda franchise. Hear me out again. I don't think Zelda games are bad. I just don't have fun playing them. But Breath of the Wild is actually pretty good. And I relate to a ton of people that did not enjoy playing Zelda games growing up, but had a great time with Breath of the Wild. This Zelda game is truly open world. You have access to almost everything immediately. Other games like Link to the Past have this illusion of an open world, but they are extremely linear and that they are really just Metroidvania games disguised as open world games. I could be wrong on that, but based on everything I have seen in videos and read about Zelda games, it checks out. In Breath of the Wild, you aren't restricted to some linear order of doing things, and there are endless amounts of things you can do to pass time between quests. It's likely that someday I'll try Breath of the Wild again. And I hope I enjoy it. In closing, maybe I'm just extremely stubborn. Maybe this franchise is amazing and I'm just missing out. If you think any of my takes on Zelda are just wrong, I'd love to hear about it. Ultimately, I'm here to say that I have a preference when it comes to video games, and Zelda games don't satisfy my preference. If somebody left a comment that changed my mind forever, I would actually be quite happy with that. I don't want to stay stuck in my ways. I don't want to dislike Zelda forever, and I'm actually okay if it just comes down to, it's not my style of game. If somehow this video got over 10,000 views, well, I'll be playing Majora's Mask, and I guess we will once again put my preferences to the test and see if I enjoy Zelda. If you enjoyed this video, even if you're a Zelda fan, I would encourage you to like and subscribe, maybe even click the bell so you get notifications. I may not play the same games as you, but I love learning new games. I love learning about life through video games, and most of all, I love having conversations with my friends. If you stuck around for this whole video, I guess you're one of my friends now. So please stick around, leave a comment, and check out more of my videos. Much love, friends. See you next time.